left to right. Russell Westbrook.
You love the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me get a hell yeah!
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad. It is Dimes, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Joining us today is the Austin Krell. Follow him on Twitter at KrellTPL. What's up, Austin?
Or, for the betterment of society, don't follow me on Twitter. In fact, you can probably unfollow me on Twitter. It's probably better for everybody.
The Philadelphia 76ers defeated the Clippers 110-103. They moved to 34-21 on the season, 25-2 at home. On tap for today, we are going to recap the Sixers win, our top takeaways. Austin, kind of lead us off tonight.
Well, who else is going to lead us off? There's no one else here.
All right.
So I thought the top takeaway was, the one thing I looked for was the turnovers. They only committed 6 turnovers in the game. We've seen them commit 7 turnovers in a quarter. They committed like 7 in the first quarter against the Grizzlies the other night. So I thought they were able to take control of the ball, maximize their possessions for the most part, and play really well together. And I think also we saw tonight that the problem isn't the fit of Embiid and Simmons. The problem is the fit of Embiid, Simmons, and Horford, because there's no spacing there. And the offense, I thought all the way around looked much better with Horford off the bench, and Ben and Embiid obviously starting together. I mean, the lane was way more open. And it allowed Joel to establish post position. It allowed Ben to sort of navigate and drive when the lane was there. I thought it just opened things up much more.
4 transition points for the Toronto Raptors, man. I don't know how we get that defense to transition away from the Wells Fargo Center, get in away games. But 4 transition points for the LA Clippers tonight. That is Sixers basketball. Wow. When the Sixers are out-rebounding teams, they're beating teams at the free throw line, they're crushing teams in the paint. That is the recipe for the Sixers winning a championship. I've been screaming at Brett Brown. If you follow us on Party on Broad and past pods, I've been screaming at Brett Brown because he tends to get away from that. For some reason, he got away from that. And this is what we saw. We saw the Sixers look absolutely fucking great tonight, accomplishing all of those things on that checklist. And Ben Simmons, man, I gotta start with Ben Simmons. Just as aggressive as I've ever seen Ben Simmons tonight. 15 shot attempts in the first half, 12 of 22 from the field. Dude, he had a triple-double, his second consecutive triple-double. Elite defense. We could have a whole pod on that defense we saw tonight. But I love the way he pushed the tempo. Acrobatic layup after acrobatic layup. But I love the way he just attacked the paint. Ben Simmons, man, show some respect, man.
Yeah, I just think that the takes are getting not even funny or cute or make you think anymore. It's just it's just stupid. It's such a tired act. Fans just don't want to let themselves have fun. They want to complain about literally everything they can, and that includes driving a wedge between themselves and Joel Embiid if need be. I mean, this whole week has been a garbage display because of what transpired on Sunday. And, this was a much needed win. And I thought Embiid looked very, very, very much engaged. He wasn't his dominant self, but I think that's sort of that matchup as a whole with swarming wing players, guys like Morris, that kind of physicality can be a little bit tough with Embiid. But I thought that for the most part, he played a really, 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 really great game tonight. Yeah. But I think this team just continues to prove to us that as much as we like to dramatize things and say, I don't know if they can do the switch, I don't know if they I don't know that they can do that. They can, and they do over and over and over again. They can look like absolute dog shit 2 games in a row at home against bad teams, and then play one of their best games of the season against the Clippers the next game. They turn it on when they have to turn it on. They do. You can't deny it. They beat the piss out of Milwaukee. They beat the Celtics 3 times. They beat the Heat in Philly once and annihilated them. They've beaten the Raptors by 20 plus. They've beaten the Jazz and the Nuggets, and they beat the Lakers too. So they've beaten literally every team in the top 4 of either conference at home. So it's about getting it done on the road now too, executing away from the Wells Fargo Center, and
especially defensively.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because it's only going to get louder in the playoffs. It's only going to get more volatile, more at stake. You have to figure out a winning formula away from Philadelphia, because as they sit right now, they're still 2 games back of Miami for the 4 seed. Right now, they're looking at an away series in the opening round, and I don't blame you for not trusting them away in a series like that. I don't blame you at all. So I think they'd lose a first round series. I have a hard time believing that they would lose 4 of 7 games to the same team over 2 weeks. But tonight was just another example. We say we say, oh, they can't just turn the switch. They're not that kind of team. They are. They do it over and over and over again. But I think now the difference is they now have something to unite around. This idea that Ben and Joel can't fit together. This idea that, like, they're not as good as we all thought they were. I think they sort of like that idea. They like that mentality. And I do think that they have a more interesting formula to work with now with Horford off the bench.
The Embiid and Ben Simmons duo combined for 52 points, 21 rebounds, 12 assists, only 4 turnovers. Love to see it, man. But these two cannot play together, man. They cannot play together. I've been told this many, many times that these two just cannot play together. I'm just teasing. All right, but Joel Embiid was masterful tonight. We saw it on the first bucket in the first quarter, man. You saw him smiling. It was on an N1. Man, it was just good to see him back. Good to see him smile. Another interesting thing that happened tonight was the national media saying that Philly fans were booing Joel Embiid again. Yet they were tweeting out these videos during player introductions. It was clearly a cheer. Did you see any of that?
Yeah, I unfollowed Bleacher Report tonight. It's just a tired act, honestly. I mean, and this is why they do it, because they know that the fan bases around the country also hate Philadelphia. And I think, recently Philly fans have proven why they're hated, because, I can't stand them right now either. They're ridiculous. But they know, those types of, multi-city, national sports platforms, they can post something like that and have it be completely inaccurate and misled. But the noise of the other cities and the fan bases will just drown out the Philadelphia fans and the reality of the situation. That's what happens. People can call me biased all they want. That's the reality of the situation. Totally. You can cut clips of any look on a player's face on any other team and say that there's an issue on that team, and you'll have the exact same thing happen. You'll have Philly fans saying, trade D'Angelo Russell to the Sixers. Jimmy Butler's not happy in Miami. Jason Tatum's not happy in Boston. No, that's what they do. They capitalize on those opportunities to get clicks and engagement. That's the name of the fake media game. Fake news.
Love it. Absolutely right.
I do not endorse the fake news concept or the person who created it, but you get my point.
Yeah, man. Another take from this one is Jay Rich, man. Joshy Buckets. 17 points by Josh Richardson in that fourth quarter. What was Josh's final stat line?
He had 21, 8 of 15 shooting, I think.
8 of 15 shooting. It was a plus 24 that led the team. 5 boards. Oh, man. That was like shades of Jimmy Butler, right?
Listen, I thought it was pretty telling tonight that I thought Dwayne Wade made a really good point about Jimmy Butler. It's like the Heat are in the heat of an Eastern Conference playoff race, and Jimmy Butler's trying to recruit Joel Embiid, which tells you what he thinks of his team. I mean, I don't think I'm twisting anything. I really don't. Like, he's actively trying to recruit another player to his team mid-season, and that's an indictment on your own teammates. You shouldn't have to feel like you can recruit Joel Embiid mid-season. That's something you save for when the season's out of the way. So, I know it's a big game to Joel, and I know I know Jimmy's just feeding into it. But I think Josh Richardson is like he's emerged as the kind of leader that this team needs. He talks it up behind closed doors. He led that meeting, and then he came in the fourth quarter and had 10 to 13 big points.
Love it, love it, love it. Let's talk a little bit about the lineup, because that was also a big part of the news today, was Al Horford moving to the bench. The starting lineup was Ben, Jay Rich, Furkan, Toby, and Joel Embiid. Although Furkan didn't start in the second half, I loved it. If I've been screaming this move for a while now, but I'm glad we finally got to see it. And we also got our first look at Alec Burks. So what was your take on the lineup change, and what was your first impression of Alec Burks?
The lineup change I thought was necessary, and I said it earlier today that it wouldn't shock me because the Clippers like to go small ball. It also didn't shock me because I knew that Zubac wasn't this dynamic center who you really had to worry about in terms of defending. It was mostly going to be DHOs, and then sort of you can leave him open on the perimeter. I mean, I keep going back to Kawhi last year with Gasol, and I kept wondering at the game, what would this Clipper offense look like if they had a more dynamic offensive big man? Zubac wasn't just a DHO dive to the basket kind of guy. If he could step out and knock down a three, because it would force the big out of the paint and then make things much, much, much scarier for opposing defenses. But I thought it made sense, and credit to Brett Brown, he actually did it for once.
Awesome. And we saw Alec Burks get his first shot. We saw Alec Burks actually facilitate the pick and roll, just like I thought, even with Ben Simmons. So that will be fun as the season progresses. I think we're going to see more and more of that, the Burks, Ben Simmons pick and roll. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up, man?
I think Brett Brown has to be careful with how he uses Burks, because I think Burks is largely there for Alec Burks. We know what we know. And it's very clear that anytime he gets the ball, it's probably going to go up. And so he could help you win games. He could also help you lose games. So I think you have to be careful with how you use him. He's playing for a contract, obviously. And I do have a parting shot, as I usually do. The fans who boo Joel Embiid ought to be absolutely embarrassed and ashamed by themselves. I couldn't give a rat's ass how much money you pay for your tickets or your cable bill. We all do that. I could not give less of a shit how much it costs you to watch the Sixers live or on TV. It doesn't matter to me at all. You're not paying Joel Embiid's salary. That would be the owner of the team who signs away the paychecks. He's the one who does it. He's a private equity investor. He has the money without your viewership to pay for these contracts. He doesn't need your viewership. Joel Embiid took this team from a 10-win season to a 28-win season by himself. He then went with Ben Simmons to win 52 games and completely destroy any expectation the team had for that season, and got them to the second round of the playoffs with a broken face. The very next season, while he was still massively ineffective in the playoffs, he still made game-winning plays for the team down the stretch in many games over the course of the season. He has over his career a win share of over 21 total games won on his own merit. He's missed a quarter of the games every season he's played, at least. Joel Embiid should never, ever, ever be booed in the city of Philadelphia. He put the team and the city back on the map, and he brought life to a franchise that was questioning whether the 4 or 5 years beforehand were even worth it in the first place. He did it by himself, and he has singly become one of the most electrifying players in the world. Not even in the country or in the game, in the entire world. So I know that you might be frustrated about his conditioning. He's not even actually a fat person. He's just a big dude. He's built a way that he's never going to look that skinny, but it's a matter of his stamina and his ability to catch his wind in a timely fashion. That's what it's about with him. So whatever he's going through right now, I don't know what it is. I don't know if anyone knows what it is. I don't know if he wants to be here or doesn't want to be here. I think he does, but who knows? The one thing that you can do to really fuck this up for the entire city is to boo Joel Embiid. It's the truth. So if you want to boo him, just stay home. Stay home and boo your TV. That's all I gotta say about the matter.
I disagree with pretty much all of that. So we're going to have that for another podcast. I do, man. I do. I am on the other side of that. You can boo has whoever the fuck you want to boo, and to me, Joel Embiid showed he was soft. We're going to talk about it another time. My final thought is
Whoa. You can't do that. You can't end it that way. What is this?
Because this is a reaction pod. We're not going to go on and on. I got to work tomorrow morning. All right, so my final thoughts is Furkan Korkmaz. I fell asleep during the last game. We were going to do a reaction to that. I fell asleep. I apologize, Austin, but I got to give a little love to Furkan Korkmaz. Not tonight, but the last two games. And I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I just wanted to say publicly that I did this before a couple weeks ago, but for our new viewers, I dogged Furkan Korkmaz, and this is like a therapy thing. So I just want to make it clear that I'm sorry, Furkan. You absolutely have proven me wrong over and over and over again this season. I don't know what that means for the playoff minutes and the rotations and all that kind of stuff, but dude, you can play in the NBA. That's my last thought.
You were the only person in the city who doubted him. Only person in the city.
Oh, man. Anything you want to plug before we close it down?
I want to welcome Brock Landis. That's at Landis Brock on Twitter. He is joining the feed to Embiid as the full-time co-host. Very excited to have him. He did it. We had a tremendous first episode together. Looking forward to what the future brings with the brand there, and with the Painted Lions. Obviously, there's always something going on with us. So keep your faith in us. We're always there to deliver more content to you, and we give you the information you need. You might not necessarily want it, but you do need most of what we do.
Oh yeah, man. It is Pitchers and Catchers Day, so I did a little top 10 storyline video there at the Painted Lions YouTube channel. Check that out if you want. I'm also in NFL draft season, getting ready for the Eagles NFL draft. So I've done, I think, like 8 profiles now on top targets. A lot of wide receivers, a lot of cornerbacks. They're all there at the YouTube channel. For Austin, for myself, thanks for watching, guys. Go Sixers, baby. Stay awesome.
Sixers win it! Wow! Oh man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook